right, welcome everybody to a whole new world where we're here to put a positive spin on your mind and put a spotlight on those positive things happening in the community. So I am your host, Jacob New, and we are very lucky here to have Jay Maymi here in the building today. Before we get to his official introduction, though, it is time for the best part of the week, that part of the week that you look forward to every day, or every week, is the dad joke of the week. So, drum roll, please.
I can't wait to hear it.
Oh, snap. I just forgot it. Hang on. Let me look at my cheat sheet. Okay. What do you call an apology written in dots and dashes? Remorse code.
Oh, man, that was a bad one.
It was a bad one.
That's a bad one.
Combined with the fact that I forgot it, that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
So
that's a bad one. Those are the ones you hope to forget right away.
Yeah, and unfortunately I did. But you know what? Hey, hit or miss. So as I said, we are very lucky to have you. Thank you, Jay, for being on the show today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about you so the audience can get to know you. I know you're an author, but enlighten us, please.
Well, I tell you, first of all, I am here in Dallas for a year. I'm originally from New York. I grew up in New York. Lived there my whole life until I decided I got tired of the snow.
Okay, yeah.
Got tired of high state taxes and those daggone potholes in the Bronx.
We got our few.
Yeah, well, it's not as bad as those in New York, that's for sure.
Okay.
I mean, I've gone over a couple of them, but nothing compared to the stuff that we go through in New York. So I left New York, came here, but I'm actually here. Just continue to expand what I've been doing for a long time. I've been an entrepreneur since 13 years old.
Okay.
Since
13.
13. Whoa. 13 years old. My first entrepreneurial experience was picking up bottles and cans for a nickel.
Okay.
Because we lived across the street. Well, not exactly across the street, but up the block from Central Park.
Yeah.
And on Saturday and Sundays, you would find all the guys after they play baseball leaving beer cans and bottles of soda and things like that. And back then, still today, you could cash them in for a nickel.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we would go across the street, up the block rather, on Saturday and Sundays, me and my brother. Yeah. We were twins. So me and my twin brother, we would go out and pick up those bottles and cans and trade them in for a nickel.
That's what's up.
And it's cool because that really gave me a sense of entrepreneurial expression, entrepreneurial experience. Mm-hmm. And it was really out of necessity, though.
Were you saving for something then, or like what?
Yeah, saving for food.
Okay, yeah, hey.
Right. So I mean, growing up in Spanish Harlem, it was challenging during those days, and my mom and my dad had adopted us. We were adopted, and as a result of that, my mom had to stay home. Okay. And because she had to stay home, my father had to pick up a third job. He had two jobs already. So it was very difficult times, and we couldn't ask my dad for money to buy a new pair of sneakers and jeans.
Oh, yeah, and he's working his butt off for you guys already. So
it just wasn't cool to ask for more than he was giving us already.
Yeah.
So we figured early on, if we're going to make something happen, then we've got to be the ones to make it happen, and that started the journey of entrepreneurism. Okay. And it's just taken on many different expressions since then.
That's awesome. All right. So it started 13, and then where else did you go? What else did you do?
So from 13 years old, I started with that, and that, again, just kind of fueled my fire for being able to call my own shots and make my own money. So I taught myself how to do taxes when I was 16 years old. So at 16 years old, I was doing taxes for people in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Back then, tax code was a lot easier than it is today.
It was like 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did the easy forms, just simple stuff, simple returns. But then I got involved in theater and acting, and I was a union actor in Hollywood. So I did a few bits and pieces in different movie roles.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I got a little taste of the acting bug. Did off-Broadway stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then from there, just went on, started a personal training company, started an entertainment company, did that for a while, and then all of a sudden I got invited down to have a look at something on the financial services side, and I figured if I'm doing things that are involving entertainment and personal training, I thought, let me try to do something where if the entertainment falls through one day, and if the other things that I was doing fall through, at least I can fall back on something a little more solid, and that was financial work. And I've been doing that ever since, along with everything else that I've done since then. And so it's been a very interesting life.
That sounds phenomenal. I'm actually very jealous of like all your experiences that you've had. I mean, I have my own experiences, but it's just kind of interesting to see what other people like learn through those things. I wish I could have that. I want as much knowledge as I can. So what are you currently doing? So are you still doing your fitness? Like what all businesses do you have?
When you're an Uber entrepreneur, and you just have to express yourself, have to express your entrepreneurial spirit in different ways, you always have a couple of irons on the fire. So I've always I've been in the financial services arena since I was 21 years old. I still practice that. I'm still involved in the industry, very much so. I'm doing very well there. But I don't sit still for too long. So about 10 years ago, I started to take what I've mastered, I believe, which is the ability to speak in front of people, to inspire, to motivate, to write. It was just a gift to have the ability to write. So I started writing books and speaking back in 2008. And so now that has been a good portion of what I do today around the country. And then lately, I've been entertaining opportunities in the health and wellness world, because my background has been in fitness and in health. I see some pretty exciting things happening in that arena, so I'm starting to kind of dabble a little bit into it now. So it really depends on the time of the day. You'll find me doing one thing or another, or at the time of the week, I'll be either doing financial work, or writing, or speaking, or coaching someone else in those arenas, or doing something in the fitness world.
Cool. So kind of almost wherever the wind takes you.
Well, wherever it makes sense.
You're setting your sail using the wind. But all right. That's what's up. And so I know that when I first met you, you were promoting your book, and I've heard you speak several times, and you are a phenomenal speaker.
Thank you.
So I want to give you credit too.
Thank you.
But your book. Was it Battling Invisible Enemies? Yes. That really spoke to me, and I think one of the many things that we could talk about with you on this podcast is because I feel like we're talking about the inner struggles that we all have, and your book is I haven't had a chance to read it yet. I'm sorry, but can you let us know a little bit what is the book about?
Well, what happened was, I have to be honest, full disclosure, I actually wrote the book for myself. Wrote it for myself, to myself. And then along the way, a few people read it, and they said, hey, that needs to be something that is shared with others. Because if you're an entrepreneur out there, and if you are someone that has any level of ambition, you're going to have those battles that we have. Anyone that really strives to do more, strives to do better, looking to change their situation, will be confronted with battles and struggles that are internal. They're not external. And that really that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where battles are won and lost, is in the inner warfare and the mental warfare, the battles that go on in your mind. And so because I've been a highly ambitious, highly motivated individual from the get-go, you tend to have a lot more of those struggles, a lot more of those battles with the invisible enemies that I write about in the book. So I needed to write something that I could sort of use it as a therapy for myself. And as I was starting to write it and really take time to see what's going on in my mind, in my head, and my experiences, as I was writing it, I just sensed that this is something that's a common challenge, a common battle. And how could I be the only one that is struggling with these things? These invisible enemies that I write about in the book are common, and I'm referring to the battle of stress and anxiety and discouragement and despair and fear and doubt and worry and disbelief and discouragement, depression. These are real battles.
They're tough battles too.
They're tough battles. And as I write about in my book, it's very difficult to win any war, to win a battle, if you can't see your enemy, you can't smell your enemy. You don't know when they're coming. They don't fight fair. They hit you when you're down, and they're relentless. I mean, how do you win that? It's
a daily battle. You have to keep fighting every day. So
Absolutely.
And it's one of those things, though, too. Like when I'm looking at you, like I don't see those things, But that's why it's an inner battle. I mean, like people look at us, they don't know quite what it is we're thinking, and I know people might look at me and think the same. Well, he has it all together, and like inside, I'm like, what's going on?
That's exactly the life. That's exactly the life. Yeah.
And so it's just, and we all deal with it in our own ways, and so that's why I really like the whole concept for your book, and I can't wait to read it. And so, which one of those struggles would you say you've had maybe the most encounters with, the ones that you've listed?
That's a great question, and I say that because it's tough to, as I write in the book, it's tough to isolate one because in the book I talk about a downward spiral.
Yeah,
it's a invisible enemy downward spiral model, which starts off with pressure.
Yeah,
and I list 10 of these battles that are really coordinated. So at the end of the day, if they grab a hold of you, you end up way down in discouragement, disbelief, doubt, despair. But a person just doesn't wake up one day and they're doubtful or they're struggling with disbelief or discouragement. There's a series of other battles that have happened along the way that have not been unchecked, that have not been challenged, not been addressed, that lead into the next one. So I won't say that there's one or the other. I think corporately and together, you really struggle with all of them. But if there was one that I think that is common among all of us, is doubt.
Yeah.
I think if you're a dreamer, if you have big goals and aspirations, as you start to look at the goals and dreams you have not manifesting, it's very easy to go into this place of doubt. And then doubt leads to despair, and despair leads to discouragement, and then discouragement leads to disappointment, and too long of disappointment, you get depressed. So again, it is a mixed bag of stuff.
Oh, so it's never just one thing.
It never really is just one.
And I can see how like the doubt when you're, especially if you're going for something like a lofty ideal, or and like there's not a lot of people that are in your corner per se. If something goes against you, I could easily see how, man, one thing right after another, and I've experienced it too. I mean, sure, everybody has at some point.
Correct.
So, what are some maybe suggestions that you might have for our listeners on how do you prevent it from? How do you stop the spiral? I don't want to fall down the staircase.
Right. That could hurt.
Yeah. I don't always wear a helmet.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And in the book, one of the things I talk about is identifying when you are going into a battle. Identify who the battle is with. Who is the enemy that you are battling against, so you can equip yourself better for either victory. But the best way to win a battle is not to get in the battle.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you can have a radar on where you notice, hey, I'm being attacked here. I can see that the invisible enemy of discouragement or fear or pressure or worry is trying to give me his best shot. As you recognize that, you can do things, tactics that I write about in the book, that allow you to take a step back, not get in the battle.
Yeah.
Okay, so that way you have a greater shot of winning it. But if you are in it, how do you get out of it quickly so it doesn't spiral out of control?
Yeah, you only fall down 2 steps.
Right, exactly. Right, you just trip.
I'm on the stairs.
Right, you just trip. Right. you don't you find yourself at the bottom of the staircase. You just trip on the first 2 steps.
Yeah.
There's ways to do that. Ways to do that, and that's really one of the things I talk about. Is you have to be aware of yourself. Most people aren't aware of themselves. They don't take enough time because we're busy, especially ambitious, entrepreneurial-minded individuals. We're on the go, right? And because we're on the go, we don't take time to introspect. We don't take time to have what I call an inventory checkup to see, how am I doing today?
Yeah.
What's happening? What could be lurking in my life right now, in my experience, in my mind, that I'm prepping, I'm positioning an enemy for an attack, and I'm not even aware of it, but I'm creating the scenario for an attack. What's lurking? The 3, 4, 5 minutes that you take just to inspect is one of the best ways to avoid the attack, or be ready when it shows up to get out of it quickly. Yeah, that would be one of the techniques that I would encourage people to do, and that's one of the techniques I talk about in the book.
I think that's a very interesting concept too, because I was just thinking, it's like we're always focused on the outside of. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I mean, at least for me, I'm going around and I'm thinking about this, and it's like, oh well, how do I need to have my me time? Make sure, but. In today's society, I feel like it's always go, 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 go.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny, I was training someone when I was a personal trainer. And even recently, I've been helping people. I've always helped people with fitness goals, because that's just who I am, and I just enjoy it.
Yeah, and you're a very fit guy.
Yeah, well, so I speak from experience, right? And people tend to value what I share with them because they see physically, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I caution people that are on a fitness journey or a journey of losing weight or what have you is don't set yourself up for the attack of discouragement or for worry or stress by having goals that are unrealistic. I talked to a guy the other day. I was at a gym in Frisco, and I said to him in conversation, I said, so what exactly, how much weight are you looking to lose and by when? Yeah. Very fair question. How much weight are you looking to lose and by when? The guy said, I need to lose 50 pounds yesterday. And I said, dude, you're kidding, right? He says, no, I need to lose 50 pounds by yesterday. That guy is setting himself up for
to face all kinds of enemies.
Big time. Because the minute he looks on the weight scale and sees he only lost 5 pounds in 5 days or 5 pounds in 7 days, and he's looking to lose 50 in 30 days in a month, as he told me, that unrealistic goal is going to set him up for a big-time battle with fear and discouragement and doubt and disbelief, and all of it. So I said to him, why not start at something that's a bit more realistic and see how it goes from there? So we were chatting about that. I'm helping him with a few things now. But that's a good way to kind of understand. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Don't create unrealistic goals that by the sheer statement of them, you create the scenario to be attacked.
Yeah.
So we can help ourselves against those attacks if we're smart enough to understand how to prevent them.
Yeah. No, I like that. Your end goal might be to lose 50 pounds, but have a realistic timeline from it.
Correct.
And because then you can really appreciate, I did lose 5 pounds that week, and that's phenomenal, I think. I don't know how easy it is to lose 5 pounds. I think I've lost 2 pounds in a week. So
that's not so bad. Yeah. You got a haircut. And
I went to the bathroom.
I went to the bathroom. Yeah. There you go. 2 pounds
there
gone.
It is, 2 pounds. But I like that idea of chunking it, and then you're setting yourself up for success. It's like, what are we doing to set ourselves up for these situations? Or are we keeping it realistic, like you said, or is this maybe a little bit too lofty for right now? Not that you can't reach it, but is my time frame reasonable?
That's exactly correct. By the way, you can apply that to even academics.
Yeah.
I talk to kids that are in college oftentimes, and I ask them as they're prepping for finals or choosing schools. I speak a lot of my alma mater in New York, and I talk to these kids sometimes about the reality of good goal setting, right? And not creating academically a scenario that you more than likely will not hit your goal.
Yeah.
And again, there is another way to create yourself, to put yourself in a situation to be attacked.
Yeah.
So it really is the full spectrum of any kind of achievement. For those that are ambitious enough to want to achieve, those folks are the ones that are more susceptible for attacks. And that's who the book was written for.
Yeah. That's... Wow. So much to talk about. I'm like, wow, it's amazing. So... What? I just lost my train of thought. So we're going to take a quick break.
A bad joke would be... This would be a good time for a bad joke.
It would be.
Or a funny joke.
So did you hear about the kidnapping?
No.
Yeah, it was a kidnapping at school the other day.
No.
Yeah, he woke up, though. It's okay.
And with that, we go to break.
So this is Jacob New on A Whole New World, and we're going to take a quick break. and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody, to A Whole New World with me, your host, Jacob New. As always, we're here to talk about developing that positive mindset and positive things happening in the community. And I try to get myself together.
It's 6
yes,
after work.
It is.
Yeah.
I've had a full work day, as have many of you. So we are lucky to have Mr. Jay Maymi here. So thank you, Jay, again, for being on the show. So we're talking a lot about these invisible enemies, mm-hmm. and I saw a very interesting statistic is that about 80% of our thoughts every day are negative. And just even thinking about that and going with the whole idea of like fighting those invisible battles, mm-hmm. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of negative thoughts that we're constantly putting through our heads every day. And so, what do you have any experiences with? I mean, like, what have struggles or anything have you done that?
Sure. Look, that statistic is dead on. If you were to take a survey of most of the people that you know, and if you were to ask them when you run into them, or anyone listening to the show, to take an inventory of the first minute of their thoughts when they wake up in the morning. Yeah. And you'll find that if you take 5 minutes, but let's just say 1 minute, you find that most people will tell you that the first minute they wake up, for the most part, most people, not everybody, mm-hmm. but for the most part, most people, the majority of that 1 minute of waking time when they're assessing their thoughts, the thoughts turn negative. Mm-hmm. Most people think of what is going wrong, what's not working, what has the potential to go wrong, what is it that needs to be fixed, what decision they would have done over again. I mean, it is everything else, all the other thoughts about how can I fix this problem or avoid another problem. It's all negative. Mm-hmm. It's just the wiring that we have.
Yeah. Why do you think that? Why are we wired that way?
You know, I tell you, there's so many answers to that. Okay. But I think a lot of it has to do with what we hear when we're children. You know, I mean, if you mm-hmm. consider that a child will embrace the world in the way that he hears it from his parents, and the tones and the mood and the environment that he is in, he will embrace that as what life is to him. And if you raise a child in an environment where there is a lot of negativity, mm-hmm. well, what's that child going to be comfortable with hearing and feeling and listening and thinking about naturally? Something that's negative. Mm-hmm. That's what he hears around him. Kids aren't born negative. No. Children aren't raised, and if you have children, I have children.
I don't have any yet.
Right. Well, yet. And well, that'll happen one day soon, right?
Yeah, I'm getting married in November, so sometime after
right?
there. Yeah.
Children don't wake up negative. Children wake up happy-go-lucky. Mm-hmm. So what happens to that child that wakes up every day happy-go-lucky, thinking about, what am I going to play with today? The world is beautiful. How much fun am I going to have today? And everything is peachy and positive. What happens along the way? That year to year, by the time that child is 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on, those early morning thoughts and the predominant thoughts become negative. Become, not, I wouldn't say doom and gloom, but they certainly aren't rosy and peachy and positive. What happens? It's what they're surrounded by. It's what they hear. it's the world around them.
We're a product of our environment.
We absolutely are. And today, I mean, if you look at media, if you look at what's happening on the internet and so on and so forth, it's negativity driven. It's very rare you hear a positive word. So we wake up with that mental junk, that head trash. From the minute we wake up, we consistently hear it reinforced throughout the course of the day. We go to sleep with it.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder that we battle with this stuff every single day.
And that's just tough. And that's actually one of the reasons why I started this podcast, is to kind of promote the positivity. But just doing some inner reflection on myself, and I realized that too. And it's a struggle every day, and like it's not easy to be positive in this world. To be frank, I mean, you really have to be trying and going after it, but it is doable. And I'm a teacher now, and it's just I think of like when I went to school, like we were like, oh yeah, let's go to school. I mean, maybe not all the time, but like a lot of kids don't want to go to school now. They want to sit at home, play Fortnite. I hate Fortnite, by the way, but I mean, it's just a different culture, different environment now. And I think you're talking about the joy. I think of like a kid waking up on his birthday or Christmas, or a day that's a very special day to them, and they're just like, yeah, I'm going to go jump on the bed, wake mom and dad up, like, let's go, we're going to Disney World, and somewhere along the way we lose that.
Absolutely.
So I want to be that parent that jumps on the kid's bed and like, let's go! But it's not easy, and I know you were talking about doing the self-inventory. And I think a lot of it comes when we're doing that. Let's take a time and replace those negative thoughts with some positive things. Well, you're right. Maybe I don't look the way I want to right now. I only lost 5 pounds, but hey, I lost 5 pounds. That's amazing. Or I'm going all fitness right now. Maybe I want to run a mile in 4 minutes. I got 6 minutes today. That's 5 seconds faster than before, taking the time of like, I'm improving, acknowledge those moments, and then writing a list down of what are the things that I'm good at, and then starting every day with that, maybe I think would be a good way to start.
There's something to be said about what I have coined, what I phrased, be your own cheerleader. If no one else cheerleads you, if no one else says a nice thing about you throughout the course of the day, who cares?
Yeah.
The most important voice that you have to hear that says something nice and good about you is your own. If no one else is cheerleading your life, it's okay. It's nice if they do, but you have to cheerlead your own self. You have to cheerlead your own life. And if you're not cheerleading every effort that you have, every positive effort that you have, every positive thing that you've done, the rest of the world may not. And that doesn't demean or doesn't take away from the good that you've done. It just means that they don't recognize it. But don't you be the one that doesn't recognize yourself either, the good that you do. And I think part of creating that habit of personal cheerleading, what I call personal cheerleading, every day find something good to cheerlead yourself about. And it kind of goes to your point. If you are an entrepreneur, and maybe the entire day things didn't go right, you didn't make connections, you didn't do business, you didn't have great experiences, but you gave it your all. You honestly gave it your all. You gave it your best shot for the day. You didn't take any shortcuts. Well, you know what? The results may not have been what you would have wanted, but the effort should be cheerleaded. And you can go to bed saying, you know what? Today the results didn't hit me as well as I didn't produce what I would have wanted. But I didn't quit. I kept going. And I took the shots, and I'm going to bed right now. I'm in my right frame of mind. I'm getting ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. I gave it all I had today, and I'm cheerleading myself. That creates already internally, subconsciously, subliminally, this sense of positivity, but more importantly, it creates a sense of validation. And if nobody else validates you, that's okay. If you validate yourself, that's fine. But it starts with cheerleading yourself daily. Be your best personal cheerleader. And that's one of the tactics to not give those enemies a leg to stand on.
I mean, because when you're your own voice, you hear yourself more, you talk to yourself more than anybody else during the day. And so that's a great. I like that analogy of being your own cheerleader. I just pictured myself in a cheerleader outfit. I don't look as good as I think, but
I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah, no. Take two, Jacob.
I'll share you something that I think would be helpful too. We're kind of talking about that.
Yeah,
being your own personal cheerleader is very, very important. But in addition to that, again, this is all in the spirit of being able to determine or deter any notion of anything negativity that can give a foothold to your enemies to attack, these invisible enemies. Not only do you have to become your own personal cheerleader, but because since you're the one that lives with yourself in your mind, you also have to be able to give yourself the ability, the authority to be the marshal. Mm-hmm. A marshal shows up to evict people.
Okay.
If you don't pay kick them out. Yeah. Right? If you haven't paid your mortgage, the bank hires a marshal and they throw you out. Mm-hmm. If you don't pay your rent, the marshal is hired to throw you out.
Okay.
You have to be your own personal cheerleader, but your own personal marshal. And here's what it means. When you have a thought in your mind that doesn't align itself with your identity, you give yourself the permission to become the marshal of your mind, and you say one thing: out.
Yeah.
Out. Right?
Out.
What does a marshal do? Marshal says, out.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to explain anything. He doesn't have to create any, give you any reasoning. He's been hired to do one thing. Throw you out. Out. He's not going to reason with you. Uh-huh. Out. You have to be your own personal marshal. Yeah. A thought pops up that shouldn't be there. It doesn't line up with my identity. It doesn't feel good. Out. Mm-hmm. Get out. You know, the minute you say get out, with conviction, your thoughts.
Yeah, it can't be like, get out.
Yeah, no, right. You can't take a very good, hey, could you please now? Come on, I'll give you 5 minutes to leave.
Yeah.
No, it's like out now. Get out now.
Yeah. No, I like that. But then as soon as that thought's out, you got to replace it with something positive.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise you might have another get out scenario, you know.
And you can be getting out all day long. Right?
Yeah.
You have the marshal on staff, 24-hour marshal on staff all day long.
Yeah.
So that's when you have to go from a marshal to a cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
so
yes,
you
I had
have
a
to
rotten
be able to
day.
switch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of goes to what I said. You could have a rotten day in terms of your pursuit for some goal, and because you've had a rotten day, if you get sucked into it, if you focus too much on the rotten part of the day, well, you're giving a foothold for the enemy of discouragement to say, you know what, how long are you going to do this before it doesn't work any longer? You don't really think it's going to work, do you? And you're not making any money, so how are you going to pay your bills this month? Those are all attacks. Mm-hmm. Well, you have to be able to say, get out, and then come back with a personal cheerleading comment.
Yeah.
Get out, because I gave it my best today, and people who give it their best every day, inevitably, invariably, they win. So today I didn't win, but tomorrow I will.
Yeah.
Period.
You say that as many times until you do win.
Keep going.
Yeah.
You keep going.
Man, I love it. Wow. So, man, so much great knowledge been dropped today. I hope our listeners have gotten some good out of it. For those people out there listening, they want to get a copy of your book, Battling Invisible Enemies. How can they go about getting a copy?
I would recommend that they track me down. They can go to my website. It's very easy. Jaymami.com. Okay. The like THE. And my name, JAYMAYMI.com. They could also locate me on YouTube.
Okay.
Type in my name and they'll see both my YouTube channels. They can go to Facebook and type in The Jay Maymi and they'll find my fan page. Okay. Instagram at The Jay Maymi. Or they can just type in Google Battling Invisible Enemies. Mm-hmm. They'll see it on Amazon. They won't be able to purchase it on Amazon. They'll have to purchase it at my personal site.
Okay. It's a teaser on Amazon.
It's a teaser. Yeah. It's like, hey, you thought you were going to buy it at Amazon, but
I wanted to show it to you, but you got to go to my site.
That's right. So they can find me.
Okay.
It's a great book. I highly recommend the book for people that. And it's funny as I do these talks and I around the country and these podcasts. Even though I only spend a few minutes chatting about it, it resonates with so many people.
You know, and it's so true. Like I said, you can be looking at somebody and they like, oh, they got it together, like their outward appearance, but like I said, the inside it's like turmoil and chaos just running around.
You're dying inside. Mm-hmm. You're dying inside.
So, Any closing remarks for our listeners today, or any last-minute tips?
No, I tell you, I appreciate you having me on the show, and I think you're doing a great thing by creating a show that provides a positive format.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple of your shows, and you're giving not only your listeners a chance to be inspired and empowered and informed and influenced, which is the key. But you're also giving guys like myself and those other guests that you've had a way to showcase their talent and to provide something of value to the community. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
So you're doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
We've talked a lot about I know I've gotten a lot out of it. So, and I know our listeners have too. So
excellent.
Thank you for being a guest.
Thanks for having me.
And for all you listeners out there, we ask, as always, if you can help us spread the positivity, spread the message, just share this podcast with your friends, your family. It's free. All you have to do is just hit that share button and send it to somebody. We appreciate it, and every little share helps. So thank you guys, and this has been another fantastic episode of A Whole New World. And as always, if you only learn to do one thing, learn to make a difference. I'm Jacob New, and y'all have a great week.